Hello, beautiful people of the world. Shauna here. Today, I would like to take a few moments to talk to you about 4 key practices for anyone on a journey of self-discovery and personal improvement, anyone on a journey to shine their light and be more of their true core authentic self. I'm going to draw a card from the Spirit Animal Oracle at the end of this video. Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. This is one of my most favorite decks. So I'm going to draw a card for you at the end of this video. So let me put these aside because I have a tendency, if it's tendency, then I'm choosing it. I tend to hold these cards and play with them. So let me put them down out of the way. So the 4 key practices that I would like to share with you today are willingness, self-awareness, curiosity, and honesty. And I'm going to talk for just a minute or two about each one of those. I don't know, why do I limit myself? Maybe I'll be talking longer than a minute or two, and let me try not to shake my table. So the practice of willingness is, for me, it is a freeing practice. It's a practice that brings me this sense of lightness and possibility and opportunity. When you are in the energy of willingness, you open the door for the how to figure it out on its own. This was one of the first lessons I learned from Louise Hay many, many years ago. Allowing the willingness, being willing, sets the energy in motion for the how to figure itself out. So it's simply that idea of saying to yourself or out loud, I am willing to change. I am willing to look deeper at this relationship. I am willing to start looking for another job. I am willing to shine more of my light. I am willing to set a boundary. I am willing to say no. The beauty is you don't have to figure out the how. And oftentimes we can get caught up in that. How am I going to do that? How do I set a boundary? How do I say no? How do I leave my job? How do I be honest with myself about this relationship? The beauty is you can let go of the how. The how will figure itself out for you if you can trust that. If you can let go of the control to have it all played out already and simply be in that willingness. And I do this because this is what I do a lot when I'm in that place of willingness. I am willing to. I am willing for. Open palms. Feels so good. And then I let go because I know that that how is going to figure itself out for me. So I invite you to let yourself be in the energy of willingness and to trust that, again, the how will figure itself out for you. The second practice I have written here that I use every day, all day long, as often as I can remember, is self-awareness. Self-awareness is key for anyone on a journey of self-discovery. If you are a student of transformation and change, you know how important the practice of self-awareness is. All day, every day, all day long. Looking at yourself. And it's interesting because I want to say right now, the willingness to look at yourself and at your life, at your own darkness, at your beliefs, at your tendencies and your habits and your patterns, at your belief systems. I know because I've talked to people who do this, that toward the end of the day, before they fall asleep, they might do a reflection on their day to see where they could have done something differently or acted differently or said a different thing, or that is a practice of self-awareness, and that is a fantastic practice. It's different to be in the moment. When you are self-aware, well, actually all of these practices, I believe, because I know this from my own experience, move us from a place of reaction to a place of response. So I've always been a very reactive person. It's something that has shifted within me, still working on it. But I've become more increasingly aware of when I'm going into a reaction. So then in that moment, I have choice. And choice is our greatest superpower. And I can be aware of what's happening. All right, I'm going from 0 to 100 in 0.2 seconds. My anger is flaring up. I'm becoming aware of this. And that's just a small example that I'm using with you. So the practice of self-awareness, your willingness to look at yourself and examine what's going on around you and what's going on within you. The third key practice is curiosity. I love the practice of curiosity. And this practice began for me. I think I've always been practicing curiosity since I started on my journey back in 2009. But I was at a conference on consciousness, and one of the facilitators there, I was explaining or talking to her about something that I experienced personally. And she suggested to me to simply be curious about it. That the next time it happens, imagine myself as, a little child, and I'm watching from a distance, and I'm just wondering, what's going on with that? And I thought, okay, all right, I can do that. And through that suggestion that she made, I became, at a faster rate, more aware of, there's the awareness, what that was all about that was happening within me. It's still a process, it's still ongoing, but that opened the door for me to begin to cultivate more curiosity. Now, curiosity is a focused attention. It's not for or against anything. It helps to ground you in the present moment and to help you to become aware of what's right in front of you. The attention is on what is right in front of you. We've been taught to run away from things, to deny things, to be in reaction to things. But curiosity is like, okay, here it is. It's right here. It stops you from striving for results, and it gives you the opportunity to meet what is right in front of you. So let me take this for an example, or let me give you this for an example. Feelings and emotions, especially the strong ones and the uncomfortable ones, we have been taught to deny, reject, run away from, be afraid of, ignore, control. We've been taught that our feelings and our emotions are bad. Curiosity, when practiced, opens the door to the feelings and the emotions that are knocking and invites those, or just one feeling, in. And curiosity allows you that opportunity to be with that feeling and that emotion from a neutral perspective, inviting it in as if it were a good friend. So for example, if one of your friends came knocking on the door and was upset about something, would you slam the door in their face and tell them to go away? No, of course you wouldn't. You would invite them in, you would be present with them, and you would be curious as to what's going on. It's the same thing with our feelings. We can practice cultivating more curiosity to what is going on in our inside world, your inner landscape. And the final key practice, now remember, these are 4 key practices that I believe are necessary for any of you looking to be a more conscious human or to raise your consciousness. And this one is honesty. I have found through my own experience of working with clients and working with groups, honesty is a tough one. It does come back to that idea of ignoring, running away, rejecting, putting things in our shadows, not wanting to admit things to ourselves. Now, what I'm talking about here is speaking your truth to yourself. This isn't about learning how to speak honestly to other people, even though that is a wonderful practice as well. Maybe more challenging than being able to speak the truth to ourselves. But a teacher once posed a question to myself and the group of individuals that I was in. Can you be honest and direct in a loving and compassionate way? And when I heard that question, I thought, boom, mic drop. This is powerful. Like it just clicked. It snapped. It clicked. A switch was flipped. And I thought to myself, I'm taking this. I'm running with this. And I'm going to start to work with this. Because for the majority of my life, I have been painfully honest, brutally honest, in a very aggressive way. And it's a part of myself that I didn't like anymore. It was not the type, or it was not the person that I preferred to be. So I've been transforming that and finding ways of setting clear boundaries for myself and speaking the truth to other people from a place of love and compassion for myself, but also for the person that I am speaking to. Because I've learned that my truth and my integrity, the relationship I have with myself, is more important really than anything else. But I'm talking now about that honesty of being able to admit something to yourself. So for example, when I realized how rigid and controlling and self-righteous, self-centered I have been for many years, it sucked to admit that to myself. I'm not going to lie. That was a yucky time. It didn't feel good. I wanted to pretend that that wasn't me, but it was. And speaking that truth honestly to myself set me free. It accelerated my transformation, and it brought me freedom to be more of who I really am and more of the person that I prefer to be. It helped me to soften. Now, if you've known me, if you are someone listening right now and you've known me for a long time, you realize that, yeah, Shauna was never soft. I was always very abrasive and rigid and jagged and controlling. Softening I don't want to say it was a big challenge. What was it? It was challenging. I had a friend who I used to hang out with a lot, and she would often say to me, Shauna, you're softening. And my response to her was always, F you, no, I'm not. But the reality is, I want to soften, and I am, and I will continue to. I have put in my shadow the compassion and the nurturing and the softness, and I've lived this way that's no longer vibrationally compatible with the person that I prefer to be. So it's that idea of knowing my truth, speaking it honestly to myself, and that practice then enhances or increases or develops more into then speaking my truth out into the world, which is always a benefit. So those are the 4 key practices that I just wanted to touch upon today. The willingness. I am willing. What are you willing to do? Who are you willing to be? How are you willing to change? What are you willing to shift? What willingness can you bring into your life? The second is self-awareness. Are you paying attention to you? Are you paying attention to what's going on in your inner world? Are you paying attention to your thoughts, your words, your behavior? Curiosity. Being that, I want to say, playful child. And looking at yourself, looking at your world with fresh eyes, with that sense of just being curious, knowing that you don't have to change anything in the moment, but you can be curious as to what's going on. Let me just say this here, because I do feel like this is something that I want to talk about just briefly. That teacher that I told you about, that facilitator that introduced me to that idea of being curious, it was because I would have what's called tsunamis of emotion. I would feel it start down by my solar plexus and just move up and end up right here, my third eye. And oftentimes it was an inconvenience, because with it came my eyes welling up and tears rolling down my face. And when I wanted to speak to someone about something, I would feel that tsunami of emotion. As I got curious about it, and this took some time, it wasn't like it happened overnight, I realized that it is love and it is pride. It is allowing myself to feel proud, allowing myself to feel that sense of pride, being prideful. I was not going to go too much into my story, but I was never allowed to feel that sense of pride in myself, or pride of tribe, community, my country, the world, other people. And I realized through simply being curious, when it happened, I would just get curious. What is this? What is this tsunami telling me? What message is in here? What am I feeling in my body? What are the emotions that I'm having right now? What are the thoughts I'm having right now? And that all led to this discovery of pride and love. So it's something I'm still, quote unquote, working on. But I wanted to give you another example. And that last key practice is honesty. Your willingness to practice self-awareness, to cultivate curiosity, and your willingness to speak your truths, as uncomfortable as they might be. Speak those truths to yourself. Cat spirit. Claim your independence. When I see this card, I think of the fact that the relationship that you have with yourself is the most important relationship you have in your life. Where did your thoughts go when I said that? Did you go to, oh no, my relationship with my daughter is much more important, or the relationship I have with my parents is much more important. The relationship I have with my significant other or my spouse is much more important. No, it's not. The relationship that you have with yourself is the most important one. When you are in your truth, when you are in your integrity, you are in your independence. You have everything you need to live a life of joy and creativity and happiness. Cat Spirit is here to remind you to claim your independence. So what that says to me, what I want to ask you now is, where are you giving your power away? Where are you making decisions and choices based on someone else's needs, someone else's happiness? Where are you not living in your integrity and in your truth? When you can, be willing to know those answers. Be very aware of where you are doing that. Through the practice of curiosity, you can then start to be really honest with yourself, and then you can start to make changes. You can start claiming your independence. What does that word independence mean for you? How would you define it? Where have you, I don't want to use the word lost, where have you let go of your independence? Because it's not lost. You've just disowned it for a while. And Cat Spirit is here to ask you to reclaim it. All right, well, my little space heater is turning on here, which means there's back noise. So I'm done, I'm out. Know yourself. Love yourself first. Be in relationship with yourself first. And ponder these key practices. Integrate them into your life. All right. Love you all. Thank you so much for watching.